What's up? This is T&M Pulse. It's me and Mike, Thaddeus, Cornick, and Mike. Mike Allen, we're here to just jump into some news. Mike, if you want to jump in and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Uh, Thanks for joining us, guys. My name is Mike. First and foremost, I'm a man of faith, consistency, relentless pursuit, all in following my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Hand it off to my brother. Good here to be with you.
And,
Good
man,
to be
yeah,
here
I'm
with you.
excited. Yeah, excited about it. My name is Thaddeus Cornick. I'm a man of presence, discipline, accountability, seeks influence through communication and freedom in Jesus Christ. And yeah, we're here to just have some conversations, talk about a couple topics. We have a few on the itinerary today. First of all, we're going to start off with, the Thunder won the NBA, if you guys have noticed. And then the NBA draft was last night on the 25th. So we'll talk about the number one pick. Talk a little bit about Israel or Iran with the ceasefire. Trump was pretty angry. If you guys saw that on the news a couple days ago, OBJ might be coming back to the Giants. I love this topic. And then what have we learned since becoming a husband for the last couple years? And then we'll end the show with what games are we playing right now? All right, like what's the industry of the gaming from our perspective? Are we concerned? So we'll knock it off there, Mike. If you want to get us going with the NBA Finals.
NBA. All right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really didn't watch too much of the NBA Finals. I saw it on ESPN and stuff, Twitter. I still call it Twitter, but X, I guess, if you want to call it that. Um, Definitely surprising to see the Thunder win. Um, I think we have potential new superstar to be on the lookout for multiple seasons in a row with Gilgeous Alexander. Um, Capped
Mm-hmm.
off a historic season, regular season MVP, Finals MVP, and scoring champ. Kind of joining
Yeah.
the conversation with elite company like LeBron. I know he has a lot of work to do, but it's exciting to see for the sport a new franchise get their first NBA championship. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it's crazy too. Yeah, it's crazy because it's like I feel like thinking about OKC, you think about Russell Westbrook and you think about Kevin Durant, right? Like maybe about 10 years ago. And obviously when they lost in the finals to the Miami Heat, and then it was like they went silent for a little bit, and then obviously Russ and then Paul George, and then there was a little bit of buzz, but then crazy. They trade Paul George to LA, get back Shea, and then I they just been putting their heads down and been grinding. And the last couple of seasons, I guess they were a lot better than I would ever expected. Because I'm kind of like you, like I wasn't really watching the NBA either. But yeah, it's good. It's cool. It's good for the NBA. I would assume because it's not like a superstar dominant team. They're just really really good solid players. And obviously Shea, MVP, regular season and Finals MVP. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, what did you think about, like, I know you said you didn't watch too much about it, but what did you think about just the finals as a whole, like that particular matchup? I mean, because it went 7 games. It was pretty close considering.
Yeah, I think it's the first time they went 7 games in, well, since 2016, I believe, which
Oh,
was
really?
when LeBron had to come back from the 3-1 deficit, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, so that was cool to see because you don't see that too often, especially historically speaking. It going down to the wire like that, but it definitely had the advantage being home and winning at home, which I liked. I like to see the home team at the end of it all celebrate with their fans, just because it seems a little bit more exciting for the consumers at home. But overall, kind of like a dull end for me, just because Indiana not
Yeah.
having any championships, nor
Yeah.
Thunder, and the Thunder are a newer franchise. Um, so again, I say that with it being, there's definitely room for um, potential new superstars to be on the lookout for, but let's see if they can get back there consistently, at least in the playoffs and making a name for themselves and the franchise. But yeah, I like it. Outside of the injuries too, because it sucks to
Right.
see that Halliburton got injured on Game 7 with the torn Achilles. Um,
Yeah, that's
Same
rough.
thing with Jason Tatum. You know, you might think it may be a different outcome if they stay healthy. uh,
Yeah,
hypothetically
yeah,
speaking. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm not the biggest NBA fan due to the politics in it anymore, and LeBron just being plastered everywhere. But it is nice to see the shift take away from LeBron to new up and coming superstars, younger guys, Canadian shy. Um, it's exciting for sure.
yeah. And it'll be cool to see like what the future of these teams are going to look like too, right? Because we just kind of saw both teams in the finals. I mean, there wasn't really like a major superstar on the Pacers, right? Like Halliburton, he's a very good player. He's an all-star, but he's not like a KD or a LeBron or a Luca, right? They just had really solid pieces, and obviously Shea was a little bit different. I guess he's kind of in that superstar caliber, but I mean that team is. I feel like for most people, they weren't taking them as serious as maybe they should have. I mean, I wasn't certainly. I'm a Lakers fan. I thought that if the Lakers got an opportunity to play them, I would have thought it would be the Lakers in five, just like
Especially with the
like
Luka
Shannon
trade.
Sharp, like Uncle Shay Shay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like come on, like we got Luca, Braun, like you think I'm worried about Shea and Chet, like, but I guess we should have been because they played really good defense. Um, but
LeBron's
did you
getting
catch
old.
the NBA draft? Who is
LeBron's getting old
Braun?
too, so I think this next season, I don't know, it might be his farewell tour. I definitely expect to see the Lakers back there again in the playoffs at least, um, in the mix somewhere competitively. But
Maybe.
yeah, I was watching the NBA draft. What do you
Yeah.
think about what you want to touch back
Yeah.
on? Go ahead.
No, we can join the draft.
Um, what are your my overall thoughts on the NBA draft? Uh, outside of just Cooper Flag being number one draft pick. Well, that was a lottery pick, right? So uh, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
Um, enjoy watching the Mavericks play their game. It sucks seeing Luca being traded from them, but it looks like they're rebuilding their fandom with the number one draft pick, Cooper Flag, uh, Kyrie signing his deal. Uh, what was it, a 3 million or 3 year deal for 119 million?
Yeah.
He clearly wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
Who else do you
Yep.
have there? Ant. You have Ant there. Uh, a lot of good guys. Anthony Davis, right? Cooper Flag, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Derek Lively.
Yeah.
Potential potential playoff appearance next season on paper. The only thing really holding me back
There should
from
be.
from just going all in on saying that 100% full confidence is the amount of games that they have, like 82, 83 games a season. I really think they need to trim that
Just like
down.
injury.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
main
It's
culprit. I don't really know what
yeah.
else to point to.
It's just weird too because I mean it's been 82 for such a long time for at least like the last like 30 years or so, right? And
Since the 1960s,
I don't
from
know.
my recollection,
Yeah.
it's but
Yeah.
the
So
athletes are just so much more explosive anymore.
yeah. But you think like it's a possibility that maybe some of these guys aren't taking care of themselves as much as they should potentially, do you think? Or it's just like you said, like they're explosive, everybody's probably a little bit faster, doing like, just putting your body in these crazy spots. Like what do you think?
I think like Jordan and Magic Johnson, all those big names back then, those guys were super explosive too. It's just the innovation of our exercise science, sports science overall, and the programming that goes into making these athletes, you know, machines to the point where they can achieve higher um, athletic statistics and ability, and bring it to the court. But with that comes with a lot of risks because these guys are working out after practice and before practice, all these different training modalities that don't have. the most historical reference into what's being applied, because I'm sure there's a lot of coaches that are trying new things, also mixing in um, what they grew up knowing or learning uh, into these programs for the guys, whether it's in season or off season. Um, and then on top of that, just our overall diet in the United States. I don't think that's helping. Um,
Right, right.
Seems like the nutrition lacks, even though these guys are probably getting some of the best nutrition advice at least. But I don't know. With more money comes more problems, so more opportunities to slip up. And we don't know what these guys are doing 24/7. I definitely
Right.
think they're on their feet a lot more than the athletes were back then. But it's hard to say. It's just all speculation at the end of the day, other
Yeah.
than seeing the fact of the matter that more injuries are occurring today more than
Yeah.
ever. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's yeah. I think it's a number of things. Like I know sleep plays a big factor into it. One of my buddies, he was telling me a stat. It was like something of if you sleep under 7 hours, it was like your injury risk goes up significantly, like maybe over 50% or something like that. And you guys can correct me in the chat or in the comments. But it's something like that, right? Like I think sleep probably plays a factor. Maybe the exposure, right? Because like these guys are superstars, and you got social media, and you got like people on Twitch and you know Instagram, and everybody's kind of got like a building a brand outside of just like the game now. You know what I mean? So I would imagine not just the superstars anymore who are like probably bogged down with media and all these different things on their plate outside of basketball. But now it's like pretty much everybody. Like if you have your name and likeness, you can kind of pretty much do anything
Yeah.
nowadays, and obviously make some more money. So I mean, it's a good thing, but also it's like I don't know,
Yeah,
may
they're
not be the
definitely
only path anymore.
they're, they're definitely exposed a lot more than they were back then, which comes with, more money opportunities, more exposure, more time you're on your feet, and, less time for rest, sleep, and relaxation. But I think it's a mixture
Yeah,
of all things. Uh, because if you use the sleep bit, all these
yeah,
guys are getting less sleep anymore now. It's like, but we have all these tools, technology like the Sleep Number bed and the Fitbit and the Whoop, Apple Watch, all this in the Aura Ring,
mhm,
all these tools that we can use to help track our recovery and our sleep. And I'm sure some of these athletes are using them. Some of them are sponsored by them. So what's the excuse then? I think it comes down to um, just the amount of volume in terms of training and how many hours these guys are on their feet and doing other business opportunities outside of actual basketball.
right. Yeah, it's just, like you said, it just depends. I mean, I don't really know a specific way to track that or, you can't like monitor what every single player does, but I guess there's
Just go
probably some
home.
sort of trend that we could take a look at. Yeah, just
Yeah,
yeah, just go play. And
skip the
I mean,
club
I
after
don't know,
the
just
game.
these guys are so young, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when we were kids, I used to think that like athletes were like these grown men, and like obviously you are, but then when you get older and you realize like it's like man, like Cooper Flag is one of the youngest players ever to get drafted. He's like 18 and a half. You know what I mean? It's like now you just threw, you know, millions into his bank account. Now he probably becomes the star of, the Dallas Mavericks, right? Like it's still a very well respected franchise. I mean, it's not a small market, you know what I mean? So it's like you can't expect these kids just to come from I mean, I guess they're making some money in college too, but come from not as much to like superstardom, just overnight. So it probably takes them a number of years to kind of maybe to about 25, 26, right? Where you're like Giannis is like, man, like once I retire, I'm gonna be like Tim Duncan. He's like, I don't even want you guys to see me. Like you won't even know where I am, right? Because he just plays basketball and he seems like he goes home and hangs out with his wife and his family. So it's like I think there just at least needs a little bit more maturity age wise, but it'll come,
Yeah, it helps.
hopefully for these guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
everything's so
what
accessible to them. I think honestly, they're kind of ruining the game. It's just with time in general, could be for any sport, but um, it's becoming. I heard this today. It's becoming a rich man's game anymore. These athletes that are being drafted to a team like the Torontos, they're being upset. They're not excited about the opportunity. They're already exposed
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
so many viewers and stardom at a young age since the AAU days anymore. And with
yeah,
social media, it's like it kind of takes away from the excitement and the new opportunities for them when they reach the highest level, which is the NBA. Um, just watching on the news the reactions of some of these athletes when they get drafted, it's like they're too busy worried about how good they look instead of the opportunity and making the franchise better
yeah,
and potentially winning games. It's like, yeah, they're excited to be playing ball and making millions of dollars, but I think it's taking away from the main purpose of, hey, why are we drafting you? And that's not for everyone, but
yeah.
it's seeming like that anymore compared to the previous years, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and it just depends, and I mean, I guess it's funny. Like one team that kind of comes to mind, and just kind of like talking about the draft with a bunch of young players, right? Like I think the Jazz. I don't know if you saw, they got three first round picks with Ace Bailey, Walter Clayton Jr., and then Will Riley, I believe is his name, and yeah, like that's a team that's got literally three young dudes that just coming in, right, trying to mature. Walter Clayton Jr. is probably going to be coming off the bench, but he played with Florida, and they just won the championship, right? Like, so I don't know what his reaction was when being drafted, but yeah, you're right. Like a lot of times these guys are just used, like it's almost like, I know when you work so hard for something, and like you expect it to happen, but you see some of the players where it's like, man, like I knew this was a really good possibility, and even though they're talking about me for the last, 4 to 5 months or so, like it still doesn't hit them that this is a legit experience. And then you got some players that are just like, yeah, like I knew that this was going to happen. So then just like, yeah, like let's go play, and go to the league, and um, maybe don't take it as serious as they could. But if the Jazz, if their rookies can all come together, that could be a pretty good squad too. You know what I mean? Like kind of similar to something like OKC or Indiana, right? Like just a bunch of really solid players. Nobody's super crazy. Like Laurie Marketing is probably like their best player. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
Yeah, it's exciting, but I'm also timid. I didn't really play basketball back in my day in high school. Didn't play in college, that's for sure. I'm barely 5'10", so that probably takes away from my interest in it. But I do
Yeah.
like the sport recreational wise. It's fun to play. I enjoy watching it, but like I said, the politics kind of ruins it for me. Bronny James going to play with his dad when I don't think he really deserved it, at least as soon as it happened. I mean, it looks like he's progressing fine, but uh, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see the guys that are serious about, you know, putting in the work and, uh, seeing the NBA as a job, and their game will show, and the guys that are just there for the money, I'm sure that
Yeah.
will show too. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Well, it's a wrap up to the 2025 season. So congrats to OKC. You guys played a great series, so you guys deserve it. But yeah, we'll segue into Israel, Iran, the ceasefire that just happened. I think a couple days ago, actually. I think on the
Yeah.
24th. And then obviously, I don't know if you did you see that little take of Trump, who was obviously really upset when Iran and Israel were still going after it right after the ceasefire, the ceasefire was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw like a little clip of it. Now, with me, I really don't buy into the mainstream media. I get bits and pieces through the social media that I see. Um,
Mm.
didn't really look too deep into it. He said the F-bomb. He seemed very passionate about his decisions that he made on, launching those strikes in the Iran nuke centers. Um, but I mean, shoot, if you look at our history as in America itself, it's not the first time that we've done this. It's not a surprise to me. Multiple years now, in office and out of office, he has mentioned that he doesn't want to see Iran with any type of nuclear warfare in their hands. Even Obama, when he was in office, he mentioned plenty of times saying Iran should not have nukes, cannot have nukes. You know, it's not good for our national security. We'll make deals with them other ways, but that's not one of them. So I guess Iran got their hands on nukes somehow, and the rest is history. Ceasefire, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's good initially, right? Um, but you always have to be on edge with the news that we
Yeah,
see from either side and take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, if he's keeping his people, our country safe first and foremost, I think that's important. Um, you know, there's definitely some things that I don't agree with that he's doing, but hey, I mean, what more can you ask for a president that's doing his job or at least trying to do it? Um, especially when it
yeah,
comes to our safety, you know, because why does Iran want nukes so bad? You know, you see all their the news media putting out there that they're saying death to America. That's not something to just turn a blind eye to. So take it with a grain of salt,
yeah,
but I don't know. What do you think?
yeah. Yeah, it's, like you said, it's obviously, I think it's good to be in the spot where I don't believe that our president at the moment is just trying to like put us in some like ridiculous war again. And it feels like he's doing his very best to keep us out of it, which is kind of why I feel like he was so passionate and upset after, the ceasefire happened. And then 2 hours later, right? Like Iran or Israel's hitting Tehran, and then obviously the retaliation back and forth a little bit. So it's like, yeah, like we it would probably not be in our best interest to have Iran having, nuclear weapons out there. So yes, get them taken care of. I know that after that was done and over with, they came back and they uh, targeted some missiles at our base. We intercepted them. Nobody got hurt. Great. So it almost felt like it was like a peace treaty, right? Like kind of something that happened years ago with Soleimani.
You know what this
Um,
reminds me of?
at, what?
It reminds me of the new Top Gun movie, Maverick. That's the first
Yeah,
thing
it
I thought of.
does. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first
You
thing
get
I
it
thought
going.
of.
That was good.
Like
That movie was really good.
it was.
Really good.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but
Um,
that's literally what I thought of when, the
mm,
B-2 bombers, they went
yeah.
in undetected. So did Tom Cruise and his fleet, right? They went in undetected, they dropped the bombs.
Yeah,
Like
crazy, right?
it's a little too similar, too close to home. I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah,
believe that's what Hollywood does though. They predict things even if it doesn't fully line up with the details, but it was just
yeah,
interesting. An interesting thing that
yeah,
popped up in my head.
yeah. That's funny too, because like when I kept hearing about like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we're literally like the only country in the world to be able to do something like that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like that, how elite that mission was is like, man, I bet Tom Cruise was behind there. Maverick,
What are your
he was
thoughts
the one who
on
needed to be there.
what are your thoughts on you know, those that oppose Trump and his decisions? Like, at one point there's rallies happening where people are waving the
Mhm,
um, what's it called? The Gaza, the flag for that country.
mhm,
And then, a couple weeks ago they were waving Mexico's flag. Now they're gonna wave the Iranian flag. Every flag but the American flag. What are your thoughts
mhm.
on that? Why do you think so many people are not in support of our leader, whether or not they back them fully or not? Because what are you gonna
Yeah,
do? You're stuck with the president. Majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump, so are you just gonna keep
yeah.
opposing everything? I think some of it might be blind opposition in some cases. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what happened is he was painted out to be the bully, and I mean he kind of put himself in the light to be a bully as well, right? Like he doesn't necessarily, especially over the last 10 years, he didn't really help himself when certain comments that he made and just certain actions and just maybe some of the smugness, right, that you would kind of get from his remarks. But also, I think a lot of people became really, really interested in some of his like real estate deals back in the day with him and his dad and in New York and right, like so they brought up a lot of dirt over the years when nobody used to care about him. It felt like when he was doing The Apprentice and when he was obviously just a regular billionaire, and then obviously he jumps into the scene and he starts making some comments that you wouldn't really typically hear from a president. And like I mean, kind of like you mentioned, right? Media just hammered him, and at one point I was like, man, this guy is probably really racist and whatever. Like I probably wouldn't want this guy to be the president. It'd probably be really, really bad. But then over time, it's just like, man, like yeah, he's not perfect. I don't think he's a savior of anything, right? Like I don't think he's the best person of all time or the best president of ever all time. But it's like if you keep seeing him solely as the bully, people want to take the defense of the victim, right? So for instance, the countries that are the supposed victims are like you said, Gaza and Mexico and Iran, right? Because it's like America, you're in the spot, and Trump is the bully of the bullies, leading the bulliest nation of all, right? Like 'cause that's how it's been painted out for so many people that they're like, hey, we got to stand up for the little guy. And I think there's more sides to the story, right? It doesn't mean that everything we do is great and justified, but at the same time, I think it would be wise to like not be so blind because and just support only one thing, right? And only like think about one particular cause. Like it's not black and white, and it's not just bully and victim. You know what I mean? Like there's a bully on the other side just because they may not be as strong, they may not have as much money, but they could still be bullies too. They just can only do it on a smaller scale, right? So I don't know. Those are some initial thoughts, but you still gotta love those people. You know what I mean? Because we gotta live together. We gotta be one union, and just hear each other out. You know what I mean? It can't be that deep all the time. It just can't.
As a Christian, do you think it's important for us to be in support of Israel more than not? Not necessarily the government, but just biblically speaking, because the way I see it is, Israel has always been under attack. Um, Way before 1948 when they were declared a state, I believe. Which there's definitely some discussions out there about how that is not like the same Israel from back in the Bible
Mm,
days, but I just think like how are they still standing? They're the size of New Jersey, and I think
I know it's crazy.
you
Yeah.
go back to like the Bible verse of Joel 3:2 says God warns he will judge the nations that divide or harm Israel, reinforcing the
Mm,
idea of divine accountability for how Israel is treated. So Israel's never going to fall. You know, God says that essentially. That's the way I see it. Um, and especially given the size of it, Israel's one of the strongest military powers in the world, if not the strongest. And they're one of our biggest allies. And since America is Israel's ally and vice versa, I feel like our nation has been blessed to not see as much um, harm or torture compared to the countries over there, that are getting bombed every day. But yeah, what are your thoughts on
yeah.
that?
Yeah. It's a tricky topic, but I stand in agreement with pretty much most of the things that you said, right? And it doesn't mean that like you have to like blindly support everything that they do, right? Because they do some things that aren't good, and they do things that are bad, right? So it's calling that out when evil's evil, right? No matter who does it, just because they're they're God's chosen in the sense, like at least the region, it doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't doing things wrong, right? Like even back in
Yeah, that's anyone. That's anyone.
yeah, yeah. So it's like even back when Moses was leading them out of Egypt, right? Like God was really angry with them because they didn't listen. You know, as soon as Moses went on the mount, they went to go start worshiping. They created a new statue and started worshiping, false gods again, right? And he wasn't happy about that. So just because there's a promise there doesn't mean that they do no wrong. But yes, and the support I think needs to be there. But I also think that like um it can't be like just blind either, right? Like I think that, like you said, calling out wrong when it's wrong, and just praying about it, really seeking God and trying to learn, right? Because it seems to be a topic that's a lot more tricky than I'm understanding at this point in time, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it all. God
Mhm.
chose Israel, the Jews. He chose them to be the chosen people, and that doesn't mean that's necessarily a like a good thing. I see it more as like a 50-50. Like, yeah, it's a good thing. You're always going to be prioritized because it's the first thing that um, was part of his plan. According to Matthew 15:24, it says, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So this kind of reflects the idea that his earthly ministry was initially focusing on the Jewish people, fulfilling God's promises to them that they are a chosen nation. So he's never going to leave them, but that doesn't mean that God's going to forget about all of us as well. It's just a fact of the matter of the Jews, Israel, that nation or that state now. Um, those people are the chosen people, and essentially they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it day and night, like they have been historically. Um, but that's not to say that we aren't his chosen people either, right? Because we essentially, as believers in Christ, are the new Jews. Um, we are
Exactly.
all here
Yeah.
to accept him if we want to with our free will. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm more on the side of leaning for protecting that state and those people, even though that half of them don't even believe in the Messiah, you know. But
Mm,
they've been basically spitting in God's face ever since He chose them. So it's like it's tough
yeah.
if you don't know if if you in the comments viewers don't know the Bible, it's definitely something you have to um, learn to digest and do your research on. But the facts are there in the Bible, and there's plenty of people that can uh, articulate it better than I am, at least. But there's a
Mhm.
reason why they're still standing today through the Holocaust,
Yeah.
through all the turmoil and torture and tragedies that they went through. But outside of just Israel, anyone that is a follower of Jesus, they can find peace. They can find peace in the worst of the worst and the best of the best of the moments in life. It's just a matter of
100%.
having faith and keeping God first. Because you're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah. And I want to mention too one thing that you brought up in Galatians 3:28, right? There's neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus, right? Like, so it's not so cut and dry of like, oh, okay, like you're chosen and everybody else is second class, right? Like, and I think some
Exactly.
people maybe kind of look at it a little bit more that way than it needs to be, right? Because it's you're the body of Christ, right? Like if we he died for all of our sins, right? So we can be washed, so we can be covered, and so that we can all be one, right? So it's like focusing on that. But yes, like like you said, they're still around, right? Like there's reason for that. So there is something special. There's a promise. There's a covenant, and it's not broken. It's not to just going to be broken, right? Like it's to stand the test of time. Doesn't mean that there won't be some trials or hardships or a lot of dysfunction as we've probably seen over the last several years or so. But I don't know. Those are my initial thoughts about it. But yeah, yeah. Feel free to share in the chat. Right, there's a lot to learn in topics like this, and even you read the Bible multiple times. You read verses multiple times, right? And the Holy Spirit will speak different things to you. So share. Share what you're hearing too, because it's all
Yeah,
good for us to learn.
yeah, definitely. The last thing I really have to say about that is, you know, Jesus was the perfect human, the only perfect human on this earth, and
Amen.
everyone hated him. Everyone hated
Mhm.
him. And it says here, John 15:18, Jesus says, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also." So, us believers, we're going to be hated on, we're going to be persecuted. We are probably going to be the outlier, especially as days go on and we get closer and closer to, um, just aging. Uh, so, anyone that is on Team Jesus, if you want to call it that, um, you are probably going to be persecuted for it, and you're going to be hated on for it. It's not going to be the popular thing. Um, and you look at our current leader right now, he's starting to open his eyes to God, Jesus, and I really think ever since um, him surviving the assassination attempt at that one rally, it really opened his eyes, and he's seeing the world differently. But with that all being said, you know, stand strong with your brothers and sisters, especially those that have like-minded faith in Jesus.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Jesus is King. Yeah. If you want a t-shirt, if you want some merch, seekfirst.com. Get your t-shirt.
I need
And
one of them.
support, be bold and yeah, be bold in your faith. But yeah, I agree. I agree. Like I think it's gonna be an ongoing conversation. But as we switch gears into a lighter topic, which is very fun for me, I don't know how much you saw about this. Media is buzzing a little bit,
Oh
but
shoot.
yeah, media is buzzing a little bit. We might get the 1-3 back in in Big Blue. What do you think about that? Do you think Odell is going to come back to the Giants? Is it just a fantasy, big fairy tale? Like, does he have any juice left? Like, what do you think's going on?
Oh, I think it's not in his hands. That's for sure. He's 32 years old now, right? He hasn't played a full season in
Yeah.
6 years. um, and many
Yeah.
injuries throughout those years, right? Have limited
Yeah.
him to a game, to just 23
Yeah.
games, I mean, since 2021. So,
Yeah.
what's the worth in picking up OBJ, uh, other than just his name and the catch? Is he a
Because it'll make
historic?
me feel good.
Is he
It'll
a
make me
Hall of
feel
Fame
good.
player to you? Me? Not
No,
enough. Not enough to show for it,
unfortunately.
but I need to sneeze. Hold up. All right.
Bless you.
I had to clear my mind a bit. Anyways, I don't know if he's a Hall of Fame receiver just because I don't know, his the injuries. I think it's the injuries. He did win a
Mhm.
Super Bowl, which helps, but he also got injured in that Super Bowl. If he would have survived that Super Bowl and possibly made the MVP on the offense or Super Bowl MVP, that might have changed my outlook, and I'm sure they would have kept him another season. But he's just jumping around anymore. You know what happens when players jump around too many times? That means they're done, right? Usually you see your
Yeah,
top caliber players on a team for X amount of years, which he was on the Giants for what, 5 seasons, 6 seasons?
I
Um,
believe, yeah.
but
60 or 14 to 18. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just not enough games under his belt, especially being healthy. I don't think, like I said, it's in his hands. If the Giants want him, he's gonna go for whatever the price may
Oh yeah,
be. I think he just wants to get back out there on the field and maybe see if he can run the rust off. But I'm just afraid of him getting injured. You know, I think it's
yeah. At
I think your head's in the
this
clouds
point,
if you are
I
prioritizing him over other free agents right now.
mean, I don't think they're gonna bring anybody in as at a receiver. Additionally, I doubt it. Plus, there's nobody that's out there that could really help us that I can think of at this moment. But yeah, I agree with you, right? Like it is crazy though. He still is the only player to have 1,000 yards in 12 games or fewer in Super Bowl era, which is what do we do, like Super Bowl 50 something? So that's 50 years of NFL, and he's the only player to have 2,000 yards. Like people, I think people underestimate how special his first like 5 years in the
It's
league
gonna be
really
Super Bowl
were.
60.
Is he like, yeah, in 60 years he's the only player to do it in 12 or fewer games, right? Like just think about it. In 14 to 16, played 43 games, 288 receptions, 4,100 yards. He had 14 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. 17, he gets hurt. In 18, 12 games, 77 receptions, just over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then we boot him off to Cleveland, unfortunately, 74 for 1,000, 4 tubs. And he's playing with Baker, really angry. 23 yards or 23 receptions in 2020. I think that year was also kind of funky, I think, or he was also a little bit hurt. I think that's also the year. I want to say that's also the year where his dad came out with that tape. You remember that mixtape of him just running around
Was that
doing
his
wind
dad that
sprints,
did
being
that, or
open.
was that
I don't know
legit?
if it's allegedly it was his dad. I don't know who did, who didn't, but it was him running wind sprints every Sunday, wide open, which is
Yeah,
pretty
he's running
funny.
the DB off like a run play. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean the numbers on paper look great.
initially,
Um,
yeah, the first couple of years, yeah.
but these athletes, if they can stay healthy, I'm sure they can easily, match that, if not surpass it. You got receivers like Justin Jefferson who had 3 seasons racking up over 4,800 yards. Jamar Chase, you know, so it's not like yeah, he's special. He definitely brought the fandom to catching the ball with one hand, or in his case, 3 fingers. But I just think he's just injury prone anymore. His age
Yeah,
is catching up, and it's just a young man's game. These athletes
yeah,
are getting younger and younger, or at least being prioritized at a younger age anymore. And the lifespan in the NFL is 3 years. Um,
yeah. I mean, he had a he had one
on
heck of a
average,
career. I mean, yeah,
he
like you
did.
said, I mean, ACL, right? Then he does the ankle, or maybe it was the ankle first, then ACL, and then he has like a quad pull, and then he re-tears his ACL or whatever
He
order
tore
that
his
was. And then
ab too
obviously,
in
yeah, then you
Cleveland.
got like yeah,
He's
you
just
got like
old.
other like minor. It's just unfortunate. So
You
yeah,
know what that
but
tells
like I
me?
said, what he's not sleeping.
He ain't sleeping, man. He ain't sleeping. He's probably just out. No, I'm playing. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these guys, young, hot shot in his time. You're out partying, drinking. It doesn't help. Why are these guys getting injured so much? Are they just partying all the time? Like half these people don't even sleep 6 hours. Like I know for
Probably
myself,
not.
6 to 7 is prime. Anything more is too much, where I'm too drowsy and just not functioning at my best. But everyone's body is different too. Some people may
You also
recovery.
can hit around anymore.
I don't know, man. I love OBJ, but I just don't see it being worth the Giants' money, especially with Dayball. His track record right now is not looking pretty. So him to bring in some OBJ fanboys or just
It
any
made me
type
feel
of.
good though.
I mean, I guess you guys have nothing to lose because
All right. We won three
shoot,
games last year.
is he gonna wear 32 though? You don't deserve 13. That's
Well,
highest
Jalen,
number.
he don't deserve it either. He probably had as many yards as Odell the last couple years.
Probably, but just like they did Julio Jones when he came out with that ugly number.
Over 80.
Bro, that man looked like he
Yeah.
didn't know how to play football. You see him in the Super Bowl? Or was that I don't even think he touched the field in the Super Bowl.
I
That was
mean, he played in the Atlanta one, but yeah, I don't know if he did it. I guess with the
DeAndre
Eagles.
Hopkins I'm talking about. He got bullied by the ball. Dropped it.
Yeah, because
His
he
one
wasn't wearing
opportunity.
sleeves. Yeah, when
DeAndre
he don't
Hopkins
wear
is better
sleeves.
better receiver than OBJ in my eyes. Just
Yeah,
because he
it's
had longer
consistency.
lifespan.
Yeah,
Not in terms of ability, it's just yeah, like consistency, longevity. And how old is he? I
about the
think
same
he's like
age. I mean,
he's 33 years old. So, and he just
yeah,
got signed to what? The Ravens?
no, did he?
Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah,
on
I
the
think he
Ravens
did.
now.
I don't know why he would do that. He wanted to be just like Odell. Odell went to the Ravens, had 500 yards and three touchdowns.
But
So
it's you just follow the pattern. Once you jump too many teams, you're doing it for the paycheck and the hold on to the game. You know, you're really not worried about getting the ball. You're probably a
I
number
don't
three
know if you could.
receiver. You're probably number
Yeah,
three receiver. I mean, you saw his performance out there in the Super Bowl. If you're not being prioritized, and just like any sport, if you're not, especially football, because the opportunities are limited. If you're not getting hot early and often, you're gonna be cold, and when that ball is thrown at you, it's gonna hit you like a bag
hit you
of
in the
rocks,
chest.
and you're gonna get shattered, bro. Yeah, you're gonna get shattered, and you're
Yeah,
gonna go sit on the bench and read a book.
like AJ Brown because his quarterback don't throw him the ball. We'll say that for another topic.
He's cold, bro.
For another time. Yeah,
He's cold.
it was a dog. But yeah, I mean, wrapping it up, right? Like, would it be nice for me as a Giants fan? Yeah, I think it'd be really great. Is he gonna come in and have some tremendous impact? Probably not. But would I sign? If they sign him for a vet minimum or 5 million and he can get some incentives, like sure, like why not? Like if they have it ain't gonna hurt them. All it'll do is bring more fans into the building. Because the Giants aren't winning a ton of games this year, anyways. I don't think so. Let's just right their wrong because they should have never shipped him off to Cleveland in the first place. I know he had his part to play too, but like that should have never happened. But
Yeah, yeah. He never wanted
yeah,
to
but
leave.
yeah, it's like
He
come
said,
on.
"I got
So
you,
yeah, come
bro."
on. Anyways,
I hope. I mean, if that happens, I'll be cheering for him too. You know, it'll be cool to see, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
yeah. I mean, we'll see, but let's jump into this. So we're both husbands. We both got you almost got a year under your belt now. Tell me what it's like. Tell me, like what's your perspective? What has it done to you? Like how has it taught you from when you were
Well,
not a husband?
you know, it's an everyday thing. You know, take it day by day in terms of growth, in terms of you know, trying to make the better decision from the past, especially
Mm,
with like making your wife happy and not uh, doing things to see her upset or, you know, obviously I like to tease people and make people laugh, but
right.
sometimes it's just like, all right, read the room, not the day. Maybe don't say that joke to her that you know is gonna get under her skin just for your laugh, you know? Nah, but all in all, it's been great. Nothing really changed. As you know, her and I have been together for like 9 years, almost married
Mm,
a year. So it's really nothing new other than just trying to step up as, uh, you know, a man of God under God. and leading her
Mm,
in the right direction in every facet of our life, just providing and just taking it more serious, taking it more serious and stepping up when you don't want to and just doing things when you don't want to do them, you know,
right.
trying to, like I said, just right your wrongs and take it day by day. Um, do your best. It's none of us are ever going to be perfect. And I think it's ever evolving. 1 year or 1 month or 1 week, you may be struggling with one thing. Things may be great the next week. It's just all about being consistent. And I take with my I statements of a man of faith, consistency, and relentless pursuit. The faith comes in
Mm,
to play when things that I may not be good at in terms of leading
right.
or just things that I lack in, like me not being much of a cook or just the unknown about the future and trying your best
Yeah.
to be able to provide and protect and just be that man of the house. I put my faith in God and following His word and His teachings, and there's true peace in that. So it's really
Yeah.
simple. I just have my faith in the Lord and keep my nose in the Word every day and try my best to digest it and soak it up like a sponge.
Mm,
Because then that will reflect onto her and how she acts. Even if she doesn't even know it, she's going to start to change through your leadership, good leadership especially.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so just trying to right the wrongs in that facet. And then with consistency, being consistent in everything, being consistent in
Mm,
uh, my word. I don't say promises. We don't say promises in our household, right? If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You don't have to say, do you promise, right? Because then your word holds no value. So being consistent
right.
in following through in anything you do. If I say I'm going to get this part of the house done in a project that I'm working on, then I'm gonna get it done. If I say I'm going to, help you out, grab the groceries and just anything. It could be anything. Just being
Mm,
consistent and following through with it and not letting her down because I know I hate and dislike when that stuff happens to me. And again, I'm
mm,
not perfect, but that's why it's one of my statements. And then relentless pursuit, always trying to strive to be the best for her, my family, my future family. Um, just never giving up, overcoming the adversity and having that ambition. And I, it's easy to have the ambition following Jesus because, there's so much that I learn about myself every
yeah.
week. So it's just like trying to dial in on what needs to take um, priority in my life to overall be a better husband. Um, but yeah, that's my bit. What about you? Um,
I, w- I want to touch on something that you said that was really good, and I think all of us who are men, who are husbands, can really, really, really learn from that and like really press on to that. Was when you talked about being consistent in the words of what you say, right? Like because your wife looks to you as like protection in a certain light, right? So if you tell her something, hey, I will do X, and you don't do X, and it gets compounded over time of you not doing X, right? Like there's just a lack of trust, like, oh man, like, and then you see your wife might try to do it on her own, right? And not bring you into the fold, right? Because it's out of protection of her to herself because she doesn't trust you, right? So when you mention that, like that's a pro tip for anybody listening, for anybody watching. Pro tip for myself, like we can always improve on something like that, right? Like you don't need a promise. If your word is your word, keep it, right? So I know that that's something specifically that I can focus on, in my own relationship. But yeah, that was really good, Mike. Really, really good.
Yeah, how's it been being a husband for you? What
Yeah.
may you struggle with? What are you trying to be better at? Because I
Mm.
feel like it's easy to say what you're good at, but just being honest about what you may be struggling with, and then, season it with some stuff that you do really well at, and how it's been being married for what, going on 3 years now?
Almost, yeah. Yeah, it'll be 3 years in August. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, not and not in a bad way, but like I think just out of sheer maturity that like it was a brand new world for me, right? Like for those of you who don't know, and maybe some of you guys are in a similar situation or we're in a similar situation. Me and my wife, we just up and left our home, right? We moved across the country and we started our life just me and her. And it came with, I think it was a really great thing that we did because it really helped us rely on each other because we couldn't go back to anybody. Right? I can't go to mom and dad. She can't go back to mom and dad. We can't escape each other. We have to deal with problems head on, right? And I think one of the biggest parts of that, which was really good, is we I mean, it makes it a lot easier when people aren't in your business or they can't see like, oh, like you're fighting, you know what I mean? Because I think that just kind of helped us breathe a little bit and know that we can kind of figure it out on our own. And I'll just be honest, right? Like I was ready to be married, but not ready to be married because I didn't necessarily know what it would really, really take of myself, right? Like I thought I was, but I wasn't sure. And to be honest, I didn't really know kind of how to handle it, right? I knew, okay, like you get a job, you support your life, right? You support your wife. Okay, great. So we did that. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's just me and her. So we have to obviously find some friends. We got to make sure that we're dating each other. And that's one thing that I really struggled with to make her feel special, you know what I mean? Because and not like in a bad way, but like I was so nonchalant about things, right? Like um thinking about, okay, well, a date night, it could be just, I don't know, staying in watching a movie, right? And it wasn't I didn't put much thought into some of these things, right? So it was kind of like I would just go through the motions without thinking about it. But one thing I had to really learn and realize is that we all love to be loved differently. My wife loves to be loved in ways that she knows that you put some real thought and effort into it, right? And I don't really care to be loved that way necessarily. I want to tell you what I want and I want you to do it. And then that's, to me, that's like, okay, that's you showing me that you love me. But
Yeah,
you have to be
love
really, really
language.
intentional.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that took us some time to learn. And then I got surrounded by a lot of other men here in the area. And I was like able to kind of see how they lead their families, how they lead their wives. And I was like, oh, like, there's a lot of things that I just wasn't doing, right? So, but the main thing, like, it was just really, really learning to be intentional with her, right? Like, we spend a date night every week to make sure the day might change, but make sure that we're doing something together. And then also like each day, right? Like recapping at the end of the night, and sometimes some I got to get back to it sometimes because miss certain days, but just asking her like, hey, like what did I do well today?
Yeah.
What did you like about what I did? What did I not do well? Okay, how can I improve, right? And like really listen, tell her, oh, okay, so I hear you say X, Y, and Z. It's like, yeah, yeah, that's true. It's like,
How's
oh,
that
oh,
worked?
that's
How's
great.
that been?
It's
Is
been
it easy to take it serious, or is it kind of like silly in the beginning stages of implementing that into a weekly routine, you know? I just
yeah,
think
I
of like
mean,
my wife, Emily, she like initially she's just like a silly girl, so
yeah,
it would take a little bit for her to like take it serious, be like, or she'd just be annoyed with me. But that's a good thing that I definitely would want to implement in our relationship. You know what I mean? Though it's like, how was your day?
yeah,
What did you do bad? What didn't I like about you today? I can switch the tone, but I could see where it can kind of, from my
Uh,
perspective, what I'm dealing with, how that could be like, come on, are you serious? Like, you really got to
yeah,
be intentional.
I think it's funny because like my wife is silly and I'm not really. So I think
Mhm.
she knows like when I'm being serious about something and I'm being intentional because like I care, she like knows to okay, like I'm gonna pay attention to this. But it's also something like we spoke about too, and she sees that like I think the thing for her which made it a lot easier is because so many of the men that around, she gets to have conversations with their wives, and she sees how like
Yeah, that's helpful.
that being things that that they do in their marriage, and like it's like of course I'm going to implement it. Like if you get someone who's married for 20 years and these are some things that they've been doing for the last 5 and they're in a really great spot and they're really happy, it's like I'm just all right, like yeah, it might sound silly but I'm going to do it cuz
Oh yeah.
clearly it works.
hmm
You know what I mean? So it's like okay,
It's fun trying that too, trying new things
yeah.
that you may not
Yeah.
necessarily think of or see yourself and your wife
Mm,
doing. So
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, and encourage you to give it a shot. Encourage all you guys to give it a shot. But yeah, it's really and I got that from my mentors, and Steve Weatherford. So that's something that he really harps on, right? Like having a marriage that you are proud of, right? Being a husband
Yeah.
that because that's the first relationship. Well, that like if all goes well, right? That's the relationship that will be the longest. You're only with your parents maybe up until 18, 20, 25, whatever, right? And then maybe you go leave and you get your own house and maybe you're still in the same area, whatever, but you got these people that are married for 20, 30, 40, 50 years together every day. You know what I mean? Like kids or not. Kids 20 years, same thing, they move back out. Then it's you and your wife again. So
hmm
it's like if you're not being intentional with that relationship, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a really challenge. So yeah, I think just realizing the like severe, like not severity, but how serious that really matters. And
Yeah.
yeah, sticking to God's word, right? Like you said, staying in the word, being that leader. But
I don't think anyone's ever truly ready to get married. Like, I'll be the first person to say that marriage isn't for everybody, especially with the intent behind it. Um, like my intent is probably different than most people's intent, but as a follower
yeah,
of Christ, my intent is to one, follow Christ. So it's like if I like this woman over here and I see value in her, right? It's an investment trying to find your person. Um, I'm going to do my best to follow him. And with following him, life will be easier. Not every moment, right? Like you said, overcoming those challenges, moving out right away and just fighting through the adversity, being just you two and not having too much support initially right away and leaning on each other. That's very um, strong-willed and something for people to look up to because everyone's journey is going to be different, and keeping God first will only make it easier, and doing it alone is always going to be harder, right? We can't bear all those challenges as humans, no matter how many mentors we have, or like the mentors are great, and having the people around you supporting you is great, family, friends, whatever, but you got to be rooted in something.
mm,
And for
yeah,
me, it's God. And
amen.
I take the sermon from church last Sunday. We are talking about marriages. It's funny that this is the topic this week, but you know, marriages go through dry spells, and the ones that last
Yeah,
through it usually have the Lord in it, right? God, Jesus. And
yeah,
I, he was talking about the three talking points were kind of making it. an analogy to a tree, right? Say an apple tree. If it's not
Mm,
rooted in good soil and a good
yeah,
environment, it's not going to bear fruit. No matter how pretty it looks on the outside, it has to be rooted in something nourishing and good overall, right? Just like we need to be rooted in our word, rooted in our prayer
yeah,
life, rooted in our how we take in the word of God and not just say we're going to do something, but act it, walk the walk. So if we're rooted in God as a relationship and he's first, you can't fail, no matter how many times the devil's going to try to throw a wrench in your plans or your uh your ideas. If you have God first, you already won. It's just a matter of trusting him. So stay rooted in your faith, and that's what we do. And it's a challenge day by day, but like I said earlier, there's so much peace in knowing that you already won,
mm,
you know? So
100%.
those challenges help you grow. Overcoming adversity helps you grow, and that's what we all need to go through in order to be better people and better mentors, right? Because like you have Steve as a mentor to you and your brothers around you. I have you as a mentor
Mm,
to me. That's the way I see you, right? All the people that are in my life, especially those that I look up to, you can take something from each of those relationships, especially being
yeah,
rooted in the same mindset and faith. So that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. And to your point too, like you just said, right? Like it's so cool and it's such a blessing that hey, we got to grow up together pretty much. I mean, some of the most important parts of our lives, right? Like we met when we were just going into high school, right? Like that's kind of where you could argue where like, life kind of starts because you start being a little bit more independent, and that's where you really can go through like some real challenges and stuff like that. But it's such a blessing. But then also too, right? Like you've been with your wife 9 years. I've been with my wife 8 years. Not fully married that whole time, but just
Right.
together.
Hmm.
And then now we're married. You know what I mean? And the conversations that we have with each other are not unmarried conversations. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about families and being a husband and right like taking care of ourselves, right? It's not just about me. And look, I don't say that to like stomp on anybody, but all I'm saying is when you are looking to be like a great leader and you're looking to be a great husband, to be surrounded by other great men, great husbands, right? To have you as my best friend, someone who has the same values and principles. And I know at the end of the day, like you're gonna like if I left my wife with you, I know you're gonna take care of her and protect her if like if I was out for whatever reason. I was like, oh yeah, like you're good. So because I know you're a man that's going to lead, that's going to protect, and it's vice versa too, right? Like
For
so,
sure.
I think it's good to always have that as well because it's probably a lot harder to be a really great husband and you don't have any other like husbands with you. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
so yeah, get
That's what we're
connected
here for.
to some really good men. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a blessing to know someone like you for so long and have that friendship last because, you know, it's hard to find true friends. And I'm a
mhm,
true believer in having small circles. Like, yeah, I've had friends my whole life, but like true friends, it's uh it's a blessing for sure and something that I don't take for granted. So,
amen.
uh
Yeah,
and that's God right there, just looking out for me in that way, keeping me
mhm,
grounded. We all fall short, but
yeah,
how you bounce back. Bounce back.
100%, 100%. Well, wrapping up there, is there anything else that you want to just have a take on, or
I definitely encourage anyone who's single out there and trying to look for their companion in life to one seek the Lord first, and everything else we'll follow through. We'll follow suit, right? But you both have to be on the same page, and it's a process, right? It's not gonna be
Mhm.
an overnight thing, but in today's age, I feel it's um, not the popular thing of getting married and staying with one partner, being in a monogamous relationship. Uh, but there's so much pros to that than the opposition, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers can understand where I'm coming from in that facet because just through life experiences, you go through things, you go through different relationships, you start to see what you like, what you don't like, type of personalities, but what's gonna stick. One
Yeah,
thing is not it's not gonna just be one thing. It's not just gonna be the looks or the money, you know. For me, it's having God first. So that's really what just makes it work for me. Um, but yeah, don't be afraid to get married, but it is gonna be work. It's not gonna be easy. No one said it's
yeah.
gonna be easy, but who wants something easy, right? Because then in the end, uh, dang, it's cold down here, shivering. But then in the end, once you get to that milestone together, it's so worth it. You know, it's beautiful.
100%. 100%. Yeah, and last thing I'll say on this is just stay equally yoked. What I mean by that is make sure you and your wife or your husband, you and your partner just have the same values, right? You believe in the same things,
Amen.
and it doesn't have to be every single thing, right? Like if she's a Knicks fan and you're a Nets fan, right? Like I think you can make it through. You'll be okay. But but maybe not super tough topics, right? Like if you're super passionate about one thing and they're super passionate about something else and it's just like super conflicting, I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm just saying really pray about it and have those conversations with each other. If you guys can respect each other enough, but sure. Like, but I would say I think faith, having the same faith, that's gonna always be key, right? Equally yoked there. And because yeah, it's not easy. You're gonna have to decide to stick together. You're gonna have to decide to love each other. You're gonna have to decide to work through it when you don't want to. It's just like anything else,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep. It's
people
just
don't
like
get to
anything else.
like anything else. Yeah, you
Takes
don't make it to
work.
30 years of marriage without wanting to chop their head off every once in a while. Not literally, but you know what I mean by that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. You ready for
Yeah. Let's go to the next topic.
the last topic of the
Last
day?
one.
Yeah. So look, I got some props with me. I know you got one of these. I know you don't got one of these. So
Got it right here, bro.
look,
Always keep
yeah,
that thing
look,
on me.
yeah, it's disappearing, just like the catalog.
Hey, hey,
So,
that catalog is expanding. That's expanding. Let's
speaking of
have you start.
catalog,
Let's have you start though. What are your thoughts? Well, let's start with what are you
yeah.
playing? What are you excited to play? What's your concerns?
Hmm.
Go from
Yeah.
there.
So, currently I probably average about maybe 1 to 2 games a year that I'll legitimately play, like a story game, right? So that game that this year was Final Fantasy 7, the Rebirth, the second part of the story, and took me about a year and a half to play, but it was really good.
Main
I
story's
really
48
enjoyed it.
hours. A
Oh,
big game.
I played it for 100. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, like it was a really good game, and I can't wait for the next one to come out. I know that there's no set date in there. There hasn't been like a trailer or anything of it coming, so I would imagine probably 27. But yeah, that was fantastic. Right now, as we sort of speak, I popped back into Horizon Forbidden West and or Zero Dawn, whichever one is second, the second one in the series. That's the one that I'll be playing probably for the next.
I think it's Forbidden
Uh,
West, right?
I think so. Yeah, that'll be the next one that I'll be playing for the next. 6 months to a year or so
Did you
before
start
I
that
probably
yet?
beat that. Yeah, I started it when it came out, and then Final Fantasy came out.
In
Like I said, I can only
2022.
play. Yeah, I can only play one at a time. So,
Yeah, I
so I
mean, those are story games,
yeah,
right? I feel that,
yeah.
man.
Because I want to, I don't play very often, and when I do, I want to take my time with it. Like I don't want to just play it just to beat it. I want to play it to like obviously enjoy. So, I play like an hour or two on the day. Right, I'm gonna explore and do whatever because those are the type of games that I like. But that's what I'm playing right now. I think once that is, I might even mix up and play Tears of the Kingdom as well at this because I wanna play that as well. But
Tears of the Kingdom.
yeah,
What's that one?
yeah. Zelda.
Is that the new one?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you already played that.
Uh, I mean, I did the same thing with Horizon. Like I probably played a couple hours, 20 hours or so, and then I haven't played it in quite a bit. I think the thing that bothers me about that game is the Switch is just so old, and when you keep going back and forth from like, PlayStation and Xbox where you're, playing 60 frames or 120 frames, right? And 4K, and then you jump back to the Nintendo Switch and you're maybe playing at 720 1080p potentially, and it's 25 to 30 frames. It just gets a little frustrating sometimes. So like there was part of me that was like, man, okay, like let me wait for the Nintendo Switch 2 to come out, but then like it's also like I don't really want to get that. Like that's
Yeah.
$450.
Uh,
And I just don't feel like doing all that just for like a slight upgrade. So I might just you know, just play it. But another thing too, and I know I'm kind of just on a tangent, but the Switch, I just don't feel like buying another controller. And because the controllers I have are wired, that also like bothers me because I don't want to play it because my dog will just walk through the wire
mm,
and then ruin everything. So until I get a wireless controller, I'm probably not playing that either. That's also a reason why I haven't in the last 2 years. But
dang, 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're juggling. I mean, you got all the consoles, so you're juggling them. It's just you just let the one on the floor drop, juggling two.
Yeah. I
That's cool.
mean,
I get it though. I mean, playing two story single player games, like reading two books every other
yeah.
night.
Well,
You probably want to finish one, especially if you're not reading them fast or playing them fast. I'm still on that
yeah.
analogy. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I get it. What are you excited for though, coming out, other than Final Fantasy? Anything else you're excited for? Like any live service games? Play with friends?
Uh, live service games. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm excited for Ghost of Yotai. I liked Ghost of Tsushima. That was really fun. To be honest, there's a chance that once that comes out, I might even probably play that first. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. Live service games, I don't know what's coming out. Like, is there anything fun that's coming out? Because I know I tried that. What was that other game that I had you download that we both
Split.
didn't like? Yeah, yeah, we played. I tried Splitgate for all of 10 minutes, and I won. I won as a team in the first game, which was just kind of crazy. It seemed so easy. Like it was maybe like there's like 5-year-olds on there or something. Because I never
Yeah,
played it before, and I like had a couple kills, and but I was like
I
I
enjoy UFC.
deleted it. Yeah, that's
That's
fun.
not live service, but I mean, a game that you can play online with your friends. That's fun, quick and easy.
Yeah. What
Um,
are you playing? What are you excited for?
well, I'm excited for NCAA 2026,
Yeah, that'll
joining
be
a
fun.
dynasty where I have to play weekly against other players, friends online. You can join it with me if you want. Um,
Yeah,
Start a franchise with the school that we get. We're gonna go with the Power Five schools. So it should be more fun in terms of recruiting. Uh,
mm,
I don't know if I'm gonna get Madden. I want to get both, but it's like, why do they do that? It's tough. I feel like NCAA was a better game last year,
it
especially
was.
since we haven't had it in so many years. So that's what I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to more. Um, Obviously, I'm always looking forward to playing Call of Duty for the first few months, especially getting it on Game Pass. It's like, well, I don't really
Yeah.
lose anything, so that will be cool. I think it's Black Ops 7, which was a curveball because I was expecting Modern Warfare,
Yeah.
something off of
That
that. But yeah, so NCAA and then the games that I'm looking forward to in terms of single player, I'm looking forward to trying out Outer Worlds 2. That looked interesting. It's coming out October. Uh, I loved Indiana Jones, and they're coming out with some DLC for
mm,
that, so that should be fun. Um,
nice.
Still looking for Fable, which probably isn't gonna hit 20 until 2026, but I don't know with GTA 6 where that would fall.
Are you
But
gonna play that? GTA?
um, it just depends on the games that come out beforehand, right? Because I'm a Game Pass subscriber, so if I don't have to spend 80, $70 on a game just to try it and maybe not like it or potentially love it, I'll play the safe one, and then I usually find something on Game Pass that I do enjoy playing a lot. And like you said, for single player games especially, it's hard to play multiple single player games back to back
Yeah.
without if I intend on beating it. Um, so
Right.
I mean, Tony Hawk is coming out in July, the 3 and 4, so that's a nostalgia fix right there for me. I'm definitely gonna play that, and it's quick and easy. Something you don't really gotta think about. I'm gonna try it and see how I feel playing it. But yeah, I mean, it's really exciting for Xbox, PC, just because of all the games and the catalogs from their first party titles just dropping into Game Pass. It's like you get to try all of them. It's like Thanksgiving every week. You want some mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, Hawaiian rolls, turkey. I mean, you get it all. And
Yeah. Well.
what's the best thing about Thanksgiving? Having it all at once on your plate. Just
Yeah.
we're eating good over
It,
here. So
it depends though. It depends on who's serving it. Sometimes what they're serving on Game Pass is you go to the wrong house on Thanksgiving and you're like, man, I don't know that turkey looked kind of dry. I was like that mac and cheese look a little it look a
I don't want
little
that green bean
look a little
casserole.
dry. Yeah, it's like,
Is that raisins
sometimes
in your mashed potatoes? Ew.
it's like it's like yeah,
That's a
I
sin.
appreciate the invite. I don't know if I'm coming back though next year. That's how Game Pass is sometimes.
Well, you just
I
gotta
look
go to
on
a
there and
different
I'm like,
house.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I need them to drop something, some heat. But yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, GTA definitely will not be on Game Pass
Oh, heck no.
anytime soon.
I'm
So
actually
so yeah.
interested in the FedEx simulator. Um,
The what?
the FedEx simulator. It just came out.
The what?
The FedEx, UPS,
I know.
the guy
Yeah, I know what
delivering
you're
packages.
saying. I know what you're saying.
What's
I
the game
just thought
called?
you were making a. I thought you were making a mistake. Oh, you're talking
Huh.
about the Death Stranding.
Yeah. That
Oh,
got some
that's
good reviews,
crazy.
but I watched some gameplay today, and you
It
know,
came out.
it came out, yeah, this week.
Oh, it
Got
did.
good reviews. It's like in the 80s in Metacritic. Uh,
Huh.
that's a PlayStation first party game, right? For a few months.
Is
Um,
it? Something
I mean,
like
it's not
that.
their
Yeah.
studio. It's
Yes.
not their studio,
No.
but it's just like, a third party timed exclusive. I will eventually touch if, I get around to it. I never played the first one. But it seems like there's a little bit more oomph to the second one. But like I was saying, I watched some gameplay on it earlier today, and kind of threw me off. It was literally this guy walking up the hill for 5 minutes delivering a package, and they got good reviews, but they said like the first 5 hours is literally you're just walking, delivering stuff, and that's all the game is, with some action in between. But I think it's all for the story, right? And that's what will really
Yeah.
keep me. If the story's good, if you can get over
That's how I
that
felt
hump
about
of,
Indiana Jones. I
yeah,
was
you
like
just got to get
trying
through
to get
it.
out of the tomb. I was like, no, I'm bored. I deleted it.
Yeah, it's a 90 on Metacritic, so I mean, 112 critic reviews. It seems like a solid game. It looks beautiful. It's just the gameplay might get a little boring in certain areas, but I'll wait till it comes to PC. I don't know. I don't know if I'll play it, but it just depends on what else is out there at the time. Um, but yeah, we got options.
Yeah, there's I tell you, like one game that obviously is not there's no release date or anything, but Kingdom Hearts. If you guys watch us for a number of times, you'll hear me talk a lot about this game. But yeah, I can't wait for
Grab the
that to
key.
come out. Yeah, I can't wait for that to
I
come
would,
out.
I, I would. Is that Square?
Yeah,
I might dabble. I don't know
I'm
though.
telling you, you should play. I mean, I know it may not be like your specific like cup of tea, quote unquote, but like at the end of the day, it's a good game. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2 is by far the best one, I believe. Just because it's a little bit more updated than Kingdom Hearts 1, like with the way the fighting is. Kingdom Hearts 3 looks really, really good and it was fun, but it was way too easy and really
Really?
like backloaded. Yeah, it was like you waited 9 years for the game and it wasn't like bad by any means, but I also think it certainly didn't hit expectations. And yeah, if you have followed the series and probably played the mainline games at least, and not like all the Nintendo ones, because they like release games that are a part of the story on like GameCube. I'm joking, but like they literally put them on like Nintendo DS, and it's like, come on, bro, like I'm
Mm.
not playing that. Or they'll give you like a mobile game, and
You
then
want
they'll
you
be
to
like,
chase it?
oh, yeah, they'll give you like a mobile game, and then it'll be like a part of the story, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like I'm not playing the mobile game to get a
Yeah,
piece of the story, so nobody understands what's going on in the game, but it's fun. So,
yeah.
so
I mean, I'm
it's
sure that
crazy.
one will pop up out of nowhere.
I hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but um, what what are you like? Are you concerned about like the future of gaming though, like moving forward, or do you think we're in a good spot?
Honestly, I think we're in a good spot just because, well, for Microsoft specifically, just because we know where things are headed. It's going to be more or less a PC console version where things are more accessible. We already see the rollout with the PC integration for Xbox PC app, um, and that's only available for the insiders. So they get a preview of what the tech is going to look like and the overall UI. And it's been what I expected, everything all in one spot with your Sony titles, aka Steam, right? That's what a lot of the Xbox console guys are seeing it as, right? Steam as bringing over the Sony content because all the other content on Steam is available except for,
Is that on the
a
actual
hand.
Xbox?
What's that?
Is that like actually on the Xbox? Like
So
it'll
this
be
is
on like
for
once you, how's it work?
this is for the next console, right? So with their handheld, um,
Uh,
they are
only on the
partnered
handheld.
with no, with the next console. That's not out yet, but the most recent thing coming out, or yeah, the most
Oh.
recent thing
See,
coming out that we know of, closest to
yeah.
it, is the handheld, right? Because the handheld is who's the company that they partnered with for the handheld? Drawing
Is
a
it,
blank right
is it
now.
Asus?
It's the ROG, yeah, ROG Ally, Asus ROG Ally handheld. So that's essentially where we're going to see things roll out
Yeah.
on first, as well as your PC, right? My PC has the Xbox PC app, and with the Insider program, you can download pretty much exclusive, uh, I guess you want to say content or software to get an inside look of what things are going to look like. And as of now, right now, they're showing, everything's all in one spot with EA Play, Game Pass, Steam, all your Sony titles on Steam. Everything is as easy as a click of a button, and boom. It's all going to be on one app, which is very convenient, especially for where gaming is going today, right? So with the rumors of Xbox
Yeah.
PC hybrid console coming out sometime 2026 or 2027, that's what we can expect for the console version. So that's exciting. Obviously you're not going to get the day one Sony titles. They're going to Sony that are first party, like Ghost of Yotei, or the new Final Fantasy trilogy. But eventually you're going to see them pop up on to the Steam platform, aka
Right.
Xbox PC app. So it's like, what do you have to lose to buy an Xbox if you want to have best of both worlds without day one gameplay on said PlayStation console? Um, so
Yeah.
no concern over there other than like hopefully they just deliver in terms of the integration of the app and it being a smooth experience. Hopefully a new UI for the current consoles that we have now. Because I'm probably not going to buy the new gen console when it comes out. I mean, maybe my mind will change, but I already have the PC and the Series X, so I really don't see why I would need that, especially if they roll it over onto the older gen consoles like the Series consoles. But we'll see. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
In terms of Sony, I think they're just going to stay true to what they've been doing, right? They're not putting any first party titles day one on the PS Plus store. They're going to make you buy it and you have to play
Mhm.
it there. And then eventually it's going to ship out to other platforms. But the only thing that really concerns me is their first party um, pipeline. I don't really see
Yeah.
much looking forward to look forward to in terms of their gaming pipeline, um, off of what we already know. So, but I'm really not concerned about that. I enjoy playing with my friends first and foremost, but I'm excited to try these new games too.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Like I already said, it's like I'm gonna play 1 to 2 games a year. So it's like as long as there's a game that I like that will be coming out, that's cool with me. Obviously, like for quality wise, you want to make sure that those games are good, which Sony, for the most part, they're always going to give you like some sort of quality at some, you know what I mean? Something that comes out is going to be pretty high quality. So I'm confident in them continuing to do that. But it would be nice to not see so many remakes. And it would be nice to see, yeah, like just some new IP, some new titles, and then yeah, like with Xbox kind of just doing anything, just letting their games pretty much go everywhere. And um, I think, I don't know. I mean, competition wise, they're either gonna just eventually become the big gaming quote unquote giant if they just withstand everything. And then, that's the place where you can pretty much play everything. I just don't know if that'll happen because I don't know if you could separate just PC from Xbox because like I feel like if Xbox isn't Xbox, PC, Xbox won't exist either. So I think the Xbox side of things still has to have a strong base, which it seems to be doing better. Seems like they have some
I
some
think,
decent content coming out over the next couple years. So that'll
yeah,
be promising, but they have to be smart with how they do so. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I mean, they're laying off a lot of people, which happens,
Yeah.
especially tech tech realm. But I think they're clear with their messaging more than ever anymore. Play anywhere, and it's like, hey, we're essentially PC, but console version. You can play it on your phone, play it on your new handheld. Oh, you can bring it right over to your PC all in the same account. It's streamlined, it's seamless. Play anywhere, you know. And they have the money and the hardware and the funds to support that. So um, that should be interesting. to say the least. I don't really think there's much of a console war anymore after this
There
past
really
generation.
was. Yeah,
Um, it's just like where are you going to play primarily, and where are you going to get the most bang for your buck? Because right now Sony isn't doing anything really well other than just grabbing talent and putting it behind a paywall of their console and platform, right? With Death Stranding 2, it's not their studio, it's Hideo Kojima. Hideo Kojima is making games for Xbox, which are going to be everywhere. And that game is going
yeah,
to be shipped off of PlayStation. You know, it's just they're just using it for marketing and to bring you to what they think is the best platform to play it on, which, you know, fair point, but not their studio, it's not their production, they're just publishing it and funding the marketing. The way I see it, at least, I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it, but it doesn't really show me the talent other than, hey, you saw good talent and you're gonna pay to put your money to have them behind this paywall. Same thing with like Square Enix. It's not their studio. So what is coming out of their actual studios? Not much, and it's very annoying, like you were saying before, just to see the constant remakes and the failures that are in their studios with the multiplayer games like The Last of Us that got canceled or Marathon. I just think it really shows that they don't have much range with what they can deliver other than just staying true to who they've been since the 90s. And you know, if it works, it works, but clearly it's not going to be sustainable with that same business model through and through as the years goes on because we, you know, probably 10 years back, we probably never would have thought some of these games would be everywhere, you know? Um, but
yeah,
to each his own, it really doesn't matter. Like, as long as everyone can play their games and enjoy it, that's what really matters the most outside of the politics and saying, oh, I got it here. You know, it's a piece of plastic at the
yeah,
end of the day.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I guess my last statement will be like, I think Sony needs to stick to what they do well, but also, like you said, will it be sustainable long term? I think it will be fine. I think games are different because they need people to be purchasing and buying them or supporting them in some form or fashion to even have another game. And because they're super expensive to make. So I think that's also a piece of some of these games going to a third party or or going, to other consoles because they're not getting this like the funding or at least the money that they need, the revenue that they need to be able to kind of stay in business and keep producing titles. It's going to be really tough to have an output of games, right? Because I mean, if you face it, these consoles are super expensive. The games are super expensive from a consumer standpoint, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And it's not necessarily a priority for everybody to go out and buy a $500 console or $600 console and buy a $70, $80 game. You know what I mean? So it's like no matter how good the game is, if people ain't buying it, they're not going to survive. So they have to like open up the floodgates to pretty much as many consumers as possible. So that's going to be the tricky part moving forward, I think. And if we can get a flood of these games, like sales coming into these studios, then they'll keep making content. So I guess that's really all you can hope for, right? Like I can't imagine they are just going to go to every platform if they didn't necessarily need to from a publisher standpoint. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it comes down to uh, accessibility, right? If you have these new gen consoles coming out, and just now, recently, all these games are truly next gen, right? Only on the PS5 and series consoles, and not including
Yeah,
Nintendo because they're just in their own. They have like their own little niche that they're fine with. But buying the hardware just to play one game because, oh, I can only get it on this next gen console, I think is going to slowly wither away. That's where you see more handheld come into place, especially with tech innovating and everything being so much smaller to essentially push out the same horsepower. You want to look at it like that? I think gaming is going to eventually make their way to the cell phones through and through, where it's like, hey, everyone has a cell phone. It's just a matter of um, the tech that goes into it, right? Everyone gets a new cell phone almost every 4 years, just like a console, but it's a necessity. And you already see some of the games out in the cell phones right now, like Resident Evil. Um, it's
On the
pushing. It's
phone.
it's
I
definitely
know
got
that.
yeah, it's definitely got like some time, but maybe this is 10 years out, 20 years out.
Yeah.
This hardware is getting smaller and still punching, punching it in, with the horsepower and the fidelity, and but that's like really out there, thinking far ahead. But I also know that the new Xbox handheld console is said to be around $900, $800. So like,
Yeah. You see what I
well,
mean? It's like,
you better be able to play everything if that's the case.
yeah.
And I think Sony's gonna come out with one too. It's just a matter of
Yeah. It's,
when they're gonna release it. So, um, are the handhelds coming back again? Well, we already have a handheld right now with our cell phone that can play games. It's just a matter of fidelity, FPS. It's gonna take time, but
yeah.
the
Yeah.
consoles
I mean,
are I think the consoles are going to evolve in that fashion where you can eventually dock your phone and just play it that way. I don't know.
that'd be crazy. That would be insane. Yeah. I don't. That's. I wouldn't be surprised. That it is. Yeah. I don't know. It is just crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's out there,
time will
but
tell.
yeah, time will
Yeah.
tell. Going for the ride. Just
Yeah.
make it entertaining at least and consistent because this generation has been mm, some years has been better than others. That's everything, but I want to see consistency across the board in terms of all platforms. I don't
Right.
want to see Astrobot win Game of the Year. That was just like a slap in the face to me.
Like I said, Xbox got to come to the party and play. Play because yeah, if you don't have competition, that's actually trying to compete and push really great games, then
Everyone's gonna
you're not gonna
fail from
get.
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that's my only concern because it's like you play anywhere. Like I think mobile games, like just regular mobile games, like Candy Crush and all those whatever you people play on their phones. I think that that's probably one of the most profitable businesses itself.
Oh
It probably
yeah.
makes more money than consoles, right? Because like just like you said, the amount of users. So it's like
Mhm.
you want to be stuck playing Candy Crush on your Xbox. You know what I mean? Because it makes money. Like, no, I got a console so I could play something like in depth. You know what I mean? Something real fun. I don't want to just have stuff there that's super easy because that's already on the phone. I don't
Mhm.
want phone games. Console game and phone games are supposed to be completely different in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's
I
just my
agree.
opinion.
We
So
we we will see. Enjoy the ride.
yeah. But
Yep.
uh but uh but yeah, guys, Mike, it was a great conversation, great chat. Anything you wanna just close the night out with?
Honestly, not off the top of my head. You know, it was a great conversation we had. Can't wait to see what we have in store for next week. This is going to be a weekly thing.
Yeah,
We can also
yeah.
get input from the community and the viewers. But we're always going to have just very casual conversations talking about any different topics. Um, Love to see the input from our viewers though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody, just let us know what you think. All right, share some comments. Share. Just bring to your friends, your family. We love the support. Please like, please subscribe, and we're going to be here weekly, like Mike said, and we're super excited to have you on this journey with us, and we'll just keep talking about whatever is on our hearts, whether you agree or disagree. We love you, and we hope that you guys will continue to support. So thank you guys, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you next week. All right.